Okay, so now that we have a basic understanding on how Bitcoins work and how cryptocurrencies work in general, in the next lectures, I want to walk you through how to use cryptocurrencies and specifically Bitcoins anonymously on the internet and on the darknet. Now, first, before we can do anything, we have to create a wallet. What we mean by wallet is it's software that's going to hold our money or our cryptocurrency. Then we can use this wallet to send payments, receive payments, and so on. So you can think of it similar to the bank account that you get when you sign up with a bank or the dashboard that you get when you sign up with PayPal. Now, there are a lot of web-based wallets where you can access your currency online using a web browser. There are apps that you can get on your phones, and there are programs that you can install on your desktop computers. Now, since we're using Tails, we're going to be using a wallet called Electrum that comes pre-installed in Tails. This is very important because, as we know, Tails is a live operating system. It's amnesic, so if you install external programs, you'll have to install them every time you start Tails unless persistence is enabled. Another cool thing about Electrum is it's really fast. It doesn't need to download the whole blockchain, which is pretty big. It uses an indexed version of it, so you can use it as soon as you download or launch the program. And the wallets that you create with Electrum can be used from separate computers. So, for example, if you destroy your Tails build, you can just go to another Tails and be able to restore your account, and I'll show you how to do that later on in the course. Now, let's go to Tails, and all of this will become much easier to understand as we do this practically. So, like I said, Electrum comes pre-installed with Tails, so you don't need to install it, and you can access it by going to Applications, Internet, and click on Electrum. Now, recently, a very dangerous vulnerability was discovered in a previous version of Electrum, but this version was shipped with Tails. And even though Tails has been updated multiple times since that version, Electrum did not get updated because the latest version of Electrum still doesn't have a Debian build, which is what Tails is built on. So, in this lecture, I'm going to show you how to manually install the latest version of Electrum, and in the next lecture, we're actually going to use it. Now, for you, in your case, you can launch it from here and follow what I'm going to show you in the next lecture. If the program gets stuck, then that means Tails still doesn't include the latest version of Electrum, and you'll have to come back to this lecture and install the latest version, as I'm going to show you right now. Now, to download the latest version of Electrum, you need to go to their website, electrum.org. I'll include that in the resources. We're going to go to Downloads, and we're going to select the Linux image, the app image right here. One click. And we're going to click on Save File, and this will automatically be stored in our Tor browser directory. That's fine. And I'm going to click on Save, and this will start downloading it for me. I'm also going to download the signature right here, so I'm going to right click this and Save Link As. And again, this is going to my Tor browser directory. I'm going to click on Save, and I'm going to scroll down. And I'm going to download the developer's public key by right-clicking, Save Link As, and again, it's going to go into my downloads, and I'm going to click on Save. The reason why I downloaded the signature for the installer and the public key of the developer, Thomas, is because, like I explained earlier, when you download something from the internet, it can be modified by a number of entities. Therefore, where we downloaded the signature and we downloaded the public key of the developer, and we're going to use the public key of the developer and the signature to verify that the file has not been tampered with since we downloaded it, since that developer signed it. I've actually explained how this works in details in my encryption section, so go back and revise that if this sounds a little bit vague. But basically right now, I'm pretty sure the downloads are over. And if we go to my Tor browser directory, you'll see I have the program itself. This is Electrum. This is the executable. And we also have the signature for this program that has the exact same name as the program with the .asc extension. And I have thomasv.asc file, which is the public key of the developer that made this program. So before I can do anything, I have to import this key right here to my keychain. And I showed you how to do that before, so I'm going to do it quickly. I'm going to go to my applications. I'm going to go to passwords and keys. I'm going to go to file, import, and I'm going to select the file which is in my Tor browser. And it's this file right here, thomasv.asc. Click on open, verify the details, click on import, and this will import his key for me. And to verify that, I can go here and just look for Thomas. And as we can see, we have the developer key in here. So now that we have the key added, we can click on the signature, right click it, and open with verify signature. And this will give us a positive result if this executable right here did not get modified, since Thomas, the guy with the key, has created this executable. So we're going to click on verify. And as you can see, it's telling us that this is valid. And like I explained before, don't worry about the untrusted part. As long as it says it's valid, this means that the file did not get modified since it got signed by Thomas. So now we can go ahead and run this file and not worry about it, because we know the file did not get modified since Thomas signed it. But before we do that, I'm actually going to copy this and I'm going to put it in my persistent directory. So I'm going to right click here and paste. And the reason why I'm doing this, because like we know, Tails is live, it's amnesic, so every time we restart, all the files will be lost unless they are stored in the persistent directory. Now, if you don't have the persistent directory, that means persistence is not enabled for you. I covered this previously in the course, so please go back to that lecture and see how to enable this. Now, also, before using Electrum, I'm going to go to Applications and Tails. We're going to click on Configure Persistence. I did cover this before, but I want you to make sure that personal data is enabled. And if we scroll down, Bitcoin client is enabled as well. And the reason why we need these settings, so when we create a wallet, the wallet information will be stored on this computer. So when we restart, we won't have to restore the wallet every time. We'll just have to put the password. So I'm going to close this because everything is configured properly for me. And one last step, because I can run executables on Tails. This is a security measure that comes with Tails. You'll need to right click the file, go to its properties, go to permissions, and you need to check this box that says allow executing file as program. We're going to close this. And now every time you want to run Electrum, don't go to Applications Internet, come to Persistence and double click this executable. Now, as you can see, the program has started. Now, it doesn't have any wallets. That's why it's not asking us for a password or anything. But right now it's ready to be used. And in the next lecture, I'm going to walk you through the basics of this program, and we're going to create our first Bitcoin wallet. Okay, so now that we have our wallet software installed, which is Electrum, in this lecture, I'm going to show you how to create our first wallet. So I'm here at Tails, and I'm going to double click the Electrum icon. As you know, we put this in persistent. Now, because this is the first time we run it, and because we haven't created a wallet, as you can see by default, it's showing us a wizard to create a new wallet. So the first thing you want to do is select the name of the wallet that you want to create. In my case, I'm going to call it John Wick Wallet. And I'm going to click on Next. And now it's asking us what type of wallet do we want to create. By default, this is set to a standard wallet, and this is what we're going to create. The wallet with two-factor authentication allows you to create a wallet that uses 3 keys 2 of which are stored on this computer, and the third is stored on a remote device. And in order to log into this wallet and use it, you'll need to use a device with Google Authenticator. Now, this obviously increases security, but it jeopardizes our privacy because, as we know, Google isn't great when it comes to privacy. Therefore, this would be a good option if you want to be secure and you don't care about privacy, but if you want to be anonymous, then Standard Wallet is a better option than this. You can also create a multi-signature wallet. This is basically a wallet that uses 2 other separate wallets installed on 2 separate machines. Again, it increases security, and because it doesn't require Google Authenticator, it won't jeopardize our privacy. But like I said, in order to do this, you will need to set up 2 machines and use these 2 machines to authenticate and use this wallet. The last option will allow us to import Bitcoin addresses or private keys, as the option suggests. So we're keeping this at Standard Wallet. We're going to click on Next. Now it's asking us whether we want to create a new seed or a new wallet or restore an existing wallet. A seed is a string of text that can be used to restore a wallet. So if you already have a wallet on a different computer that you removed, or if you already have a wallet that you want to use on this computer, then you would select the second option, I already have a seed. If you're creating a new wallet from scratch, you're not restoring anything, you're going to keep this at create a new seed, and you'll see in the next window we will get a seed which we can use to log into our wallet or restore it on multiple computers. You can also use a key or a hardware device to again restore a wallet and use it in this computer. But like I said, we don't have a wallet. We want to create a new wallet. So we're keeping this at the first option, and we're going to click on Next. Next is going to ask us about the seed type. We're going to keep this at the SegWit. This is much more secure than the legacy, but as the note suggests in here, this might not work with all websites. And right here, as you can see, we have our seed. So like I said, the seed is a string of text that we can use to log in to this wallet. So this is very dangerous. You're not supposed to share this with anybody. If anyone sees this text, they'll be able to log in to your wallet. So that's why you have all the notes in here telling you never store this electronically. You should keep it on a piece of paper or try to just memorize it. Because if anybody sees this string of text, they'll be able to log into your wallet and use your money, transfer money, or receive money. Now, this is very useful for us if we keep it private, because we can use this text to log in to our wallet from different computers, or even if we remove Tails from here and reinstall it on a completely different USB stick, all we have to do is start Electrum. Instead of choosing create a new seed, we're going to say we're going to restore from an existing seed, put this text, and you'll be good to go. You'll be able to log into your wallet and you won't lose any money. So right now I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it in a text editor. Now I know it said don't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway for the sake of this video. And we're going to click on Next. And in the next window, it's literally asking you to paste the seed in here just to make sure that you actually stored it somewhere and you remember it. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to select all, copy it, and paste it here. And we're going to click on Next. Now it's going to ask you to choose a password to encrypt your wallet. Again, use a long and strong password. And we're going to keep this option checked to encrypt the wallet file that will be stored on this computer. I'm going to click on Next. And that's it. Our wallet is set now, as you can see in here. The main thing you want to check is the balance. As you can see, we have 0 micro Bitcoins because we haven't really transferred anything in here. This is our balance. You can also see in here the blue circle. Now this circle will be red if you're not connected. It'll be green if you're connected directly, and it'll be blue if you're connected over the Tor network. So Electrum is just software that you can install on any operating system, And you can see that if you install this on any other operating system other than Tails and create a new wallet, you'll see this circle right here will be green, not blue, because you'll be connected directly through the clear net. But because this is blue in here, we know that we are more anonymous and more private because we're connecting using Tor. So we can be rest assured that all the traffic that is sent to and from Electrum is going through the Tor network first. Now you can also see in here, we're already by default in the history tab where you can see all your transactions. Again, I have nothing because I haven't done any transactions. You can use the receive tab to get your receiving address and your receiving QR code. You can use these, you can share them with anybody that you want to receive money from, and they will be going to their send tab, and they will either use your receive address or use your QR code to send money to you. And that's pretty much it. So now we have our wallet, and as you can see, Electrum is a very simple program that is easy to use. Don't worry too much about using it. We are going to use it more in the next lectures, and you'll get very comfortable with it because, as you can see, it's simple enough anyway.